And we are proud to present the theme of this year's Pride Festival, putting the unity in community. We all need support and community, especially during times of political persecution and hate. I want everybody to take a moment and look around. This is our community. Family, friends, neighbors, and coworkers, we all need to show a little more compassion and respect to each other. Every community leaders, I am thrilled to introduce a leader I personally look up to and I'm grateful to call a friend. They are a shining leader in this community. Miss Cali Je is a founding member of Reading Time with the Queens that puts on programs in both Idaho Falls and Pocatello. Programs in Idaho Falls are at the Heart Event Center, and she is also an outspoken defender of the most vulnerable people in our community, our transgender and non-binary siblings. Miss Cali has led campaigns to protect freedom of expression through their Protect Dragon Idaho campaigns, and we are so grateful that they are here to open the 13th annual Idaho Falls Pride with some words for us. Please scream and shout as loud as you can for Miss Cali.
Hello, Idaho Falls Pride! My name is Miss Cali Je. I've been coming to Idaho Falls Pride for 12 years. It was the first Pride Festival I ever attended, and I'm praying that it won't be my last. I've been asked to give a speech to kick off the Pride Festival today. However, I am tired of speeches. I've heard so many speeches. Instead, I'm gonna give you a sermon. But instead of fire and brimstone, it's gonna be about flamers and stone wall.
Yeah.
Raise your hand if you've ever been to a revival meeting. No? Me neither. Okay. But I did grow up Baptist, so I feel like I have some related experience. I have a lot to say, but as my boyfriend told me this week, sometimes people just need a drag queen to talk at them. So here we go. Sermon begin. Today, we are celebrating Pride. Not the type that comes before the fall, but the type that is the opposite of shame. Today, during this festival, we're gonna have fun. Tomorrow, we go back to the real world. This is not to say that Pride isn't real. Times I've spent here in this park with all of my gay siblings have surpassed realness. And here we know that for at least 8 hours, we are to keep each other safe and lift up every one of our neighbors with a smile and a yas. I have a lot of things to say. You can't cheer every single time I say something nice. When we leave the confines of this gay oasis, the parched and conformist desert is there once more for us to survive. And this desert that we must conquer is full of ridiculousness and hateful obstacles. There is the foolish, like the hetero Awesome Fest that pulled dozens in Boise, Idaho, in a thinly veiled attempt to declare traditional families the superior form of family in this country. We can all look at the people here today, at our families, and know that this limited definition of family cannot limit the pride we have in our own families. Even though this limited idea of a family is endorsed by our state government, I cannot help but wisely shake my head and calmly know it is nothing but foolish. There are also dangerous obstacles that our community faces, like the ever-encroaching tide of anti-trans legislation that seeks to eradicate our transgender siblings from public life. From bathroom bans to bans on medical care, these laws are now being upheld by a Supreme Court that chooses ideology over equality.
Boo.
Thank you. This becomes a barrier for many to stay in our state, and it is having the effect that our oppressors want, to establish a bigoted Christian nationalist haven in Idaho. This reflects a much wider national trend towards fascism, a distrust in truth, a scapegoating of the queer, a fear of migrants, a disproportionate focus on trans people, a sidelining of the real threats to women's safety, and a fake concern for our children. Exactly 10 years ago, the same Supreme Court that is now persecuting us found it upon themselves to give gay people the right to marry the person they love. A decade ago, a lot of our community saw that as the pinnacle of gay liberation. They packed up, they dusted off their hands, and they said, "We did it." But we always knew that the work was far from over. If you are a queer resident of Idaho, you knew that there was more to do. Our legislature has made taking away our right to marry a priority. Our legislature has made bullying queer children their priority. Our legislature has made scapegoating trans and non-binary people their priority. And even after all of this, a decade later, the Supreme Court is primed to take away the right that people once considered to be the pinnacle. When that happens, I need you to be ready. We are now and will be taking action, but more than that, I want you to listen to this one thing. Do not put your own worth in what the government says is or is not valid. You can feel hurt when they target us. That is completely understandable. But I need us to think of our worth outside of a government that clearly is not interested in helping us all the time. You cannot put your self-worth in the opinion of 9 people who do not care about you. Look around at the people here at Pride today. These are the people that care about you. Invest yourself in them. I've been invigorated by the monthly news of hundreds of protests like No Kings across our state and nation, put on by thousands of protesters. These protesters know that something is wrong with the way this country is being led. I think that protest itself serves as an excellent way to boost our own mood and to heighten the profile of our cause. But the truth is, protest itself is merely a symbol of a movement at large. Nothing was fixed because of a single march or even a series of marches. Awareness created, yes, but awareness has to lead to something else. Once we are done protesting, we can't just get online and wait for things to get better. Get off your phone. Stop scrolling TikTok. Close the app. Visit your friend. The doom scrolling is not going to help you. There is a difference between being informed and getting sunk into the fear that our oppressors want us to feel. Do not let them make you feel afraid. Our culture has taught us that strength is synonymous with pulling ourselves up by our bootstraps, by facing our problems alone. You do not have to face this alone. There will not be a single person coming to save you, that is true, but you do have you and your friends and your family and your community. Stop putting your faith in celebrity politicians. Don't call them uncle or auntie or grandpa. They exist to be elected and held accountable. Don't stay at home and let others make that decision for you. Next time you vote, do some math and figure out what your vote will add up to. No politician will ever be perfect, ever. So don't expect them to be. Regard them as your humble servants, even if they have no respect for their own job. They work for you. Do not treat them like Moses, like they're gonna part the waters, helping you escape the Christian nationalists. They alone will not save you. No matter who is sitting in whatever office, from city council to president, you have to do the work. You are responsible for building your community. Nowadays, when we talk about the history of Pride, we say something like, Marsha P. Johnson threw the first brick at Stonewall. I like and dislike this phrase at the same time. I dislike it because it is not true. We aren't even sure where those bricks would have come from. And Marsha P. Johnson, by her own admission, wasn't even there that night. I like this phrase because it regards Marsha as someone to be recognized. Even though it is mythologizing her contribution to gay liberation, she is at least getting her flowers. If Marsha P. Johnson didn't start Stonewall, what did she do? She and Sylvia Rivera did something even more revolutionary, in my opinion. They had the nerve to stand up for young trans people who had been kicked out of their homes and gave them a place to stay. That's what Street Transvestite Action Revolutionaries was at its core. An apartment for kids to sleep in. What else did she do? She did drag. She performed as a way of being true to herself, fighting back against the anti-trans legislation or anti-trans hate of her time. I've been inspired by trans activist and powerhouse Raquel Willis's recent article in Time magazine on Marsha P. Johnson. Willis says, Marsha teaches us that performance can be a form of protest, that caring for others is political, that imagination can be more valuable than wealth, that defiance doesn't require perfection-only courage. She reminds us that collectives are stronger than individuals, that joy can coexist with rage, that survival is a legacy. Marsha lives on not because we mythologized her, but because she modeled what's possible when you decide to be your most authentic self every single day. She wasn't a pillar of perfection. She didn't have much to her name, but she lived, loved, and fought until her name and her power became undeniable. As we face a new wave of anti-trans hate, let's do the same. Woo! End quote. I hear people say, it's time to get uncomfortable whenever they talk about pushing back against this newest wave of American fascism. But no one wants to get uncomfortable. So let's talk about it in the reverse. Get comfortable with helping your neighbor. Get comfortable with being in community. What does that look like? The truth is, being in community and helping your neighbor can be easy and fun. It can be as simple as going to queer coffee night. It can be as fun as going to a drag show. It can be as exciting as going to drag story time. It can be as freeing as donating your old clothes to the closet, washed. It can be as easy as putting $5 in the coffers of a gender-affirming clinic. It can be as important as going to the bathroom with your trans friend. It could be as fierce as standing up to the bullies when you notice harassment. And there are certainly more radical and less easy things you could do. The list goes on. I don't want to catastrophize. No one wants to hear about what could happen. But you don't have to meditate on what could happen if you're doing the work to build up your community today. Because if you're building up your community today, your community will be ready for anything. Do not show up when it is at its worst. You can do better than that. Get comfortable with showing up now. Get comfortable with knowing your neighbors. When you attend a Reading Time event, you're not going just to see me or Miss Barb or Mr. Zay. You're not attending just to listen to a story or learn American Sign Language. You're going to be in community. You're going to meet the parents that are just like you. It's not just for the kids, you're also learning something. When you attend a coffee night put on by your local queer organization, you're meeting with and checking up on your queer community members. You don't even have to like everyone that's there, but at least you'll know who you can help and who can help you when times get rough. When you get connected to organizations like ACLU or Transaffirm or The Closet or one of the many groups here today, you'll know what the needs of our community are. You'll find out how you can join with others in days of action. You will bring resources to the community members that need them the most. And when you've done these things, remember that being in community also requires you to take time for rest, to take time with the people that you love with absolutely no strings attached, to eat with each other, to drink with each other, to remember why we work so hard in the first place, to remember what we're fighting for, to remember what gay and trans liberation is about, to wake up each day knowing that we are free, we've got our gay rights, that we can party, we can survive, we can thrive, we can love, that we have power, and that we've got our pride. I love Pride Month. It is my favorite time of year. Despite the hard work, I finished the month knowing that I contributed something to my community. I met with my neighbors, I shared information and resources, and I did it all while having fun. Woo! What if we took this same energy into the rest of our lives? What if Pride didn't have to end at 5 p.m. today? We can do that. I know we can. We can remember not to carry shame for who we are or for who we love. We can choose to help our neighbor. We can meet with each other, share information, have fun. And only when we commit to bringing the spirit of pride with us all year long will we finally put the unity in community. Gay men.
Give it up for Kim. Yeah. And give it up one more time for Miss Cali Je.